Hi everyone, Janie here, and today I'm going to be making two projects in one. And actually I have a third one I want to make using the same cutting dies, and it's going to be a mixed media decor piece, but that is for another time. For today's project, I'm going to be using this Coca Rosa Jesus Cross cutting die set from InLoveArts, and it comes with two pieces that layer together, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, and really quick, for those of you that always wonder how to get the pieces apart, well, they are attached in such a way that you just give them a twist and they come apart, and even my old lady hands can do it. Okay, on to the first project, which is going to be a bookmark, and I'm using Recollections rose gold foil cardstock from Michaels and teal basis cardstock from Paper Temptress, and it's a much thicker and sturdier cardstock than your average cardstock. And I am cutting the back layer from the rose gold cardstock, and it cuts beautifully. And I am cutting the intricate top layer from the teal cardstock, and that also cut beautifully. But if you ever have a problem cutting intricate dies, you can use a piece of padded envelope, and I'll put a link right here on the screen to my Tuesday 2-minute tips and trick video where I share that. But as you can see, everything is popping right out. I really hate that it's not showing up true to color, but that teal is absolutely beautiful and just looks gorgeous against that rose gold foil cardstock, which is also not showing up true to color. Next, I'm using my Creative Craft Products stamp platform to stamp a sentiment on the back. I used a stamp from my stash that says, "The greatest sacrifice shows the greatest love." And I feel that that is quite perfect for this image, and also that tomorrow is Resurrection Sunday. I'm really quite pleased with how easy this is coming together. And to finish it off, I'm just using a small hole punch to add a hole to put the ribbon through. And the ribbon that I'm using is also from Paper Temptress and is a perfect match for that teal cardstock that I used. And that is how easy it is to make a bookmark with that cutting die set from InLoveArts, and I absolutely love it. And now it's time to move on to my next project, which is a card that is going to have a surprise ending. I'm going to be creating a 5 by 6.5 inch card base using a piece of cardstock that is 10 inches across the top and 6 inches down the side, and I'm going to score that in half at 5 inches to create my 5 by 6.5 inch card base. I would normally use pre-made card bases, but I wanted to show you this just in case you didn't have any. And to make this card, I'm using the same rose gold foil cardstock and teal cardstock that I used for the bookmark, and I am also using teal glitter paper from Cat Scrappiness. And for the bottom two layers, I wouldn't be me if I didn't use my paper saving technique by cutting out the centers that no one is going to see. But now I'm setting all of that aside and moving on to the next step, where I'm using True Bind clear PVC sheets, which is basically the same as acetate or an acetate alternative. And I cut a piece that is 5.5 inches by 6.5 inches, which will provide a 1/2 inch border on 3 sides of that teal glitter paper that I'll be using for the top layer of the card. So I'm scoring at 1/2 inch on 3 sides, leaving the top side without a border. And now I'm removing the tissue paper from the back of it and cutting out the little squares from the bottom corners, and then folding in on all the score lines. And then I decided to go in and trim little angles on the edges, which is going to make it easier to fold everything in. And now I'm just making sure that the glitter paper will fit nicely in there. And now that I know that it will all fit, I am using double-sided tape to put on the inside of those 3 1/2 inch edges. And you might notice that this is very similar to making a shaker pocket, with the exception that I'm not closing the top side. Okay, now I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to be using this Coca Rosa God is Good cutting die from InLoveArts. And you may notice that this is also in the shape of a cross, and I really love that. And I'll be cutting that out of the rose gold foil cardstock, and I'm happy to say that this die also cuts beautifully. And I used my Beacon 3-in-1 glue to attach that to the teal glitter paper from Cat Scrappiness. And I attached it close to the bottom of the paper, and you'll see why in a little bit. But now it's time to put that face down in that PVC pocket and make sure that the top of the insert is where the opening is. And I'll be attaching the 3 sides to the back of that piece. And I like to add a little of my Beacon 3-in-1 to that for extra hold. But I don't cover up the double-sided tape because I need that for the immediate hold to keep everything in place. Okay, and now that that is finished, it is finally time to start putting this card together, and I will be using my Beacon 3-in-1 glue to glue each layer into place. And for those of you that are new to this paper saving technique of cutting the center out, you'll see now how that works. Basically, by leaving at least a 1/2 inch border around the edges, each layer will cover up the previous layer. And you can do this by using your paper trimmer or a cutting die. So now with the first 2 layers on, I'm going to move on to the top layer and adding double-sided tape to the back. If you wanted, you could just use your favorite glue, or you can be like me and use a combination of both. But just be sure to not cover up all of the double-sided tape, otherwise it was just a waste to add that. Use the glue where there isn't any tape, and you can always add a couple of drops on the tape to help give you some wiggle room just in case you need it. So I'm positioning that on the top, and as you can see, that hides where the cardstock is missing in the previous layer, and no one will ever know. And then I'm laying something kind of heavy on it, like my Cuttlebug A-plate, just to make sure that everything adheres well. And there is the card, but it's not finished yet. I'm using the InLoveArts Love and Peace Doves stamp and die set that I used 2 weeks ago. And I stamped and die cut this dove from white gold shimmer cardstock and added a little shading with a gray colored pencil. And I'm using my Beacon 3-in-1 glue to adhere that on top of the clear pocket, which gives the illusion that it's flying. Now for that surprise ending. Have you been wondering why I created a pocket? Well, now you're going to find out. The bookmark slides right down into that pocket and perfectly covers the God is Good cross. And when the recipient pulls the ribbon to remove the bookmark, they will discover the other cross that says God is Good. A card and a gift all in one. And I would love to know down in the comments what you think of that. I ordered those 2 die sets a couple of months apart and had no thoughts of using them together until just the other day when I discovered that the one cross was just the right size to hide the other one behind it. Isn't it amazing how things work out sometimes? I really hope that you like this card and bookmark set, and as always, I hope that it has inspired you. And if you like the products that I used, I'll have links below in the description box to those, including a 25% off discount code to InLoveArts should you decide to shop there. Thank you all so much for stopping by. Have a wonderful Easter Resurrection Sunday, and happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye.